Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy for Now. It's me Isabel here with your January Romancelandia. This is a weird month, but I'm excited because we're going to go over my 2026 bingo board because it's done. I have prompts. I'm optimistic for 2026. I do think we're off to an interesting start to say the least, but I'm going to take you through all the happenings in Romancelandia that I saw this month and give you the rundown. So first things first, I have to talk about an Omegaverse author named Jessie Pack, who basically did so much AI work in their videos that their wrong name is credited randomly, and also uses virtual voice. So like, that's not a surprise. I feel like if I see authors using virtual voice, I'm assuming they're pro AI at this point. But in particular, Jessie left an AI prompt in her book that is literally like, "You're right, here's the Phoenix chapter ending properly formatted for a romance novel." Like, literally left the entire RAS prompt in here. And this is because of there's a Facebook group for Omegaverse readers, and the person who runs that group does not allow, as they call them, prompt jockeys in the group. So I just thought this was fascinating. We literally started the year with someone being outed. There's also suspicion that Jessie Pack and Eve Winters may be the same author. Like, same person doing it, so that's unsure, but it's another author who is using virtual voice at the very least. So just an FYI for anyone else reading in the subgenre like I do, this is an author to keep an eye out on. Why not kick off 2026 with more AI chatter, because that just seems to be never ending, to say the least, and that's okay, because we're going to continue on with more AI, and that is Harlequin France. I have terrible news, like truly terrible news. Harlequin France has replaced all of their translators with AI. And the reason I point this out is for two things. Is that one, authors who write for Harlequin need to make sure they have an anti-AI clause in their contracts, because your books are then being fed into AI, which is getting fed into general large portion language learning machine AI, right? This is just terrible. I also, as readers, we need to make sure that the publisher knows we don't agree with this, whether or not we are in France, because this is just step one, right? Like, you may be like, well, it doesn't affect me, it's in France, I'm in America, I'm in wherever. But at the end of the day, it will affect us, because it's going to allow the publisher to believe that we're okay with AI. And if you are not okay with AI, which if you're watching my channel, I'm assuming you are like me and we are not into the language learning model AI. When I say AI, I am talking specifically about things that are feeding creative works that is generative AI. And that is the huge concern. But author Tiffany McDaniel has a whole post I will link to down below that talks about what you can do to help fight this and to make authors aware, because oh my goodness, when I saw this, I was like, are you kidding me? And of course it's Harper, because Harper gets in trouble regular. Harper tends to get into trouble a good bit, so there's that also. But I'm very disappointed. I love Harlequin books. I think they're a very important part of the romance community, of the romance genre, of the history of romance books, and then to take these books and feed them into AI to translate them is disappointing. Beyond disappointing. Next, we have to talk about somebody I don't want to talk about, but we're gonna, because it's about an event people called Wild and Windy. They also host Love in Vegas, and basically they continue to just be really weird, okay? Like, they are making really weird choices, is what I'm gonna tell you right now, because Joe Arden I'll link the video. There's an old Romancelandia where I talk about this. Joe Arden, who is accused of sexually harassing authors and readers and having inappropriate conversations with them, got invited to Love in Vegas and is attending. And they're just like deleting people's comments and ignoring the call outs. There was the cruise. I continue to wonder, where is this supposedly real cancel culture I keep hearing about? Because why is Joe Arden going to this event? Like, I get the ick when I hear his voice now, because I'm so uncomfortable from hearing about what he did to people and the conversations he had that were inappropriate. But there are still people who love him, I guess. And I just think it's weird that we are allowing him to come to this event. That's my hot take. All right, on to less like depresso news and things, and semi-exciting and interesting. Julia Quinn is launching a historical romance book box. I have some issues with Julia Quinn as a human. We're not going to talk about that here. There are things that have been stated by her at other events that are uncomfortable, I will say. I do think what she's doing here with the Kickstarter is interesting. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it could be a good move because we have continued to see historical romances neglected and ignored by publishers now. Like, it is just like not popular. Like, mass market print sizes has basically been it has been discontinued, and I think it's going to create an interesting gap, like, in the historical romance genre, because I think they're going to go indie more and more, potentially. I don't know. It's just going to be really interesting what happens here. But Julia Quinn is launching a historical romance special editions box. It's going to be on Kickstarter. There's 3 books for the first round. And the books were finally announced, so I figured I would share them with you, and here are the covers. So we have The Last Lady B by Eloisa James. This is a new release. And then we have Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. This is from 1995. I love this book. This is like a historical romance, like, pillar of the genre. It does a lot for where we're at now, and there's just a lot to love in this book. And then there's An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole, another book I absolutely adore, and I think is a fantastic historical romance. It is set in the Civil War. Yeah, Civil War time. So I'm really excited to see those two. I think it's interesting what was picked. I mean, I don't know how you pick. It is such a wide genre, like, there's so many options, but I do think for the 3 options, like, this feels right. Eloisa James has been writing for a very long time in the subgenre and is pretty prolific, and so, like, I was like, that's fair. And then 2 older titles I think makes sense, especially one that is a pillar. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this goes. I'm curious to see how this Kickstarter performs. I don't know the demand for historical romances right now. Like, I really don't, because I don't read them a ton anymore, and I do enjoy them, and I want to continue reading the ones I want to read, but it's not necessarily like my top priority item. So I will be curious to see, like, what other people feel about this. Like, are you happy with the picks? Do you wish you'd pick something else? For 2 out of the 3 I'm for sure into. I don't know enough about Eloisa James's pick, like, book to know if I'm interested or not, but I also don't feel like it's a bad pick. I do think it would have been cool to see, like, it be all older titles, like all backlist, but at the same time, this is still neat. On publishing news and publishing neglecting things, people learned a big lesson a little bit ago, and that big lesson, of course, involved Heated Rivalry and the 7th book in the Game Changer series, which is called Unrivaled. I'm putting the cover up. If you don't want to see it, scroll on, but I'm putting up the covers that got announced. So I opened Threads, and people were having a meltdown because Unrivaled Game Changer 7 was announced, and there were people who were devastated and thought people needed to be fired from Barnes & Noble and books websites because Unrivaled book 7 in the Game Changers got listed no cover, just a blank book. Like, convinced people needed to be fired. So this was a fascinating journey. Like, one of the people that originally posted it, like, apologized and felt bad and was like, I'm not trying to steal Rachel Reeves' like shine or star or whatever and attention from her. I just saw this because I was doing something, like, they were ordering something else in the series or that, and saw 7. This was over a weekend. And this is our learning moment. I don't know if y'all know this. I did. I used to work in things that involve stuff like this, so I kind of understand how the web works with these things. But if you didn't know, when a book like this is going to be announced, like a big title, the publisher will send the metadata basically out to the bookstores. They will upload that data, and that's why there's not a cover yet, and just kind of have it there as a placeholder potentially. That's why, like, on Amazon, for example, you'd see books like scheduled for the end of the year, and like it's not even a Tuesday, but you know it's coming, but it's like the wrong, you know what I'm saying, like it's the wrong time. So you'd see books scheduled for that, and that's part of that metadata. Like, they know the book's coming, they don't have exact details. So this happened like on a Saturday, Sunday. I think it was a Saturday. And it was like dead silent because, like, nobody's at work, right? And Rachel Reed's like semi-offline, I feel like. She's like semi-online, semi-offline in the best way I can put it. And people are like, oh my God, like, somebody's gonna get fired. Why did this end up on the internet? Like, this shouldn't be up yet, blah, blah, blah. And then come Monday, there it was. All of the covers and the announcement for Unrivaled, book 7 in the Game Changer series. I thought this was an interesting learning experience for the internet and the bookish internet at that, because I guess I just didn't realize that people didn't think about it this way. But yeah, I just thought it was really fascinating that people were like, there was someone who basically said that, like, this was an aggressive act towards a Canadian to have this book leaked. That was a wild post. I'm not going to go into details on that person's post. They got dogpiled enough that I don't need to add to it. But yeah, they basically called it like an aggressive act with everything else going on in the world on Canada by Americans. And I was like, what? No. Again, it's just the data being sent to the bookish people's stores so they can have the book there. So when this announcement was made with these beautiful covers, you could pre-order the book. If they didn't do it this way, I want to note that everyone would have a meltdown when a book was announced and they couldn't order it. Like, there would be absolute pandemonium at the fact that you couldn't order a book when it was announced. That is why this happens, in my understanding. I think it makes sense. Nobody's in trouble, but I'm excited. We've definitely got some fun editions coming, so book 7 is on its way this fall. Okay. God. So this is one I did not want to talk about, okay? Like, I saw this and I was like, I'm not discussing this book. I'm not discussing this book. And then nobody could leave the damn book alone. So here I am having to discuss this damn book because let me tell you, this is not the first. This will not be the last. And it's always going to be fucking weird and gross, okay? And that is Purple State. Do not take this as a thing to go buy this book. Please, for the love of God, do not buy this book. This book is by the former press secretary for George W. Bush and former Fox News host / Fox News host. Yeah. Dana Perino. She's literally sent to go help a swing state. And again, this is not the first, this is not the last, this is the third one I know of, I think, off the top of my head. And I don't know why we are expected to just want to read middle of the aisle romances, and maybe they appeal to some people. I sure as shit don't find the appeal, and I don't really understand wanting to read these. I don't care which side is Republican or not in the book. I just don't care. I don't want to read a romance about two people that don't believe in my right to anything. So there's that. But yeah, this is happening. People will not stop talking about it. And I just want to be like, please stop talking about it. And you may be like, Isabel, why stop talking about it? Because I feel like we're giving it more marketing than it ever deserved. It is getting more attention than it ever deserved. But again, it is not the first. It is not the last. It's going to happen again. The next time it happens, I recommend you move on and ignore it. And I know that seems like weird advice. But again, no, all publicity is good publicity. And when people are talking about it a lot, you're getting it in front of people that do want to read it and will read it and will pre-order it. So there's that. Okay. Next is a fun one that kind of follows in with this. There's this Facebook group I'm sure some of you have heard of called Book Lovers for Trump. Someone posted in that group anonymously. This is the post about how they did this artwork, but they didn't want to share it because like they didn't want people to like rain on their parade, right? They didn't want people to know. But they were like, tease here, you know, and people pieced out what it was because the pre-order had just closed and it didn't take them long. Let me tell you, it did not take people long. Basically, Caroline Peckham and what is her other name? And Suzanne Valenti, I believe they're sisters. They're called like the Twisted Sisters by people that read these books. They are who commissioned this artist. They didn't know. This was not a known thing. Yeah, the people have notified the author's PA, like their personal assistant. And I figured I'd share because if you're an author and you are like, oh, who is it so I don't commission them? This is who it is. But also, it's a head scratcher for me that you're like, hey, I can't share this because people will ruin it. And then you still drop hints. So people figure it out. And people figured it out because she was asking for photos earlier in the group. And I don't know. The disconnect here. The brain power disconnect. I don't understand here. But yeah, that happened. That was a fun one. I thought it was kind of funny to watch people, like to get the screenshots and then people be like, I figured out who it was. I was like, damn. Listen, you don't need the FBI. You got people on the internet who are nosy like me. Because let me tell you, I can figure a lot of things out from not a lot of info. But yeah, there's that. Okay. I have sad things for you. And then we're going to go to fun stuff and then talk about the bingo board, okay? But we've got to get two very sad items out of the way. One is sadder than the other. We're about to talk about cancer. So keep that in mind. If you want to skip to the fun stuff, go for it. But I have an author update. I have two authors to tell you about. First things first, Saxon James has entered leukemia treatment. So just an FYI, if you read her books, kind of sad to see overall. As always, I feel like that's not a surprise that it's sad to see. It's just sad. And then the extra sad news I have for you is that Elizabeth Briggs did pass away. We talked about her in last month's Romancelandia. She passed away in the beginning of December from stage 4 colon cancer. This is your reminder that if you are of the age of 45 or older, get your colonoscopies. But also, if anything weird is going on, please get tested. I know it's hard. I know it's scary. If you want someone to talk you through it, message me. But please, 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 please get tested when things don't feel right or things seem wrong. I'm begging you. That's the biggest preventative we have. Elizabeth Briggs' family did say to continue to read her work and talk about things you loved about her books so her daughter can read them when she's older. And I thought that was really sweet. So, there's that. Okay, editing me. Hello, hello. As I finished filming yesterday, I opened Threads and I saw the article from Outsports about Dan on the Empty Netters podcast, and I said, oh no, well, this is disappointing. And then I said, oh no, this is even more disappointing, because they were deleting comments on Instagram and things like that, which felt weird. But they have released their response to the thing, and basically, the text threads happened as like they'd watched as Dan had watched like maybe the first 10 minutes of the show, I think. Had not made much progress, to be honest with you, and had frustrations as a screenwriter that this got picked up and adapted and stuff and like things around that. But then they have discussed the show differently as they've continued watching. I have not watched all of their reactions, so I have no baseline for this, but that is my understanding from other people. Do I think your biases and things can be removed with a 6-episode miniseries or a 6-episode show? No, not really. Do I think whoever leaked these texts perhaps acted in jealousy of some kind? Probably. Do I think our end-all be-all of queer sports coverage should be straight white men? No. So I think that's another thing with this is like, I think it's been really cool to see people react different ways to this series, and I myself rewatched it with Grumps and he really enjoyed it, actually. And that was really fun for me to see him like be unsure and then kind of in on the show. Like, that was fun for me. And I think, you know, again, the show is hockey, but it's not like he wanted, I think he talked about it in the video. He said he wanted like Friday Night Lights, but hockey. And like, that's not what heated rivalry is at all. So there's that. But also like, I think the way this conversation went was very fascinating. I think it's an epitome of the internet's urge to react quickly and as intensely as possible to a call out or to a thing. And listen, I'm not defending straight white men, okay? I do need to note that I am not defending straight white men. But I think the reaction was like that thing where everyone's always waiting on a thing to be the breaking point, right? To be the like, oh no, these people are actually secretly awful. Whether you liked their show or not. You know, I think it's easy to be concerned that someone is riding the coattails of a very popular queer series getting adapted and having this popularity and it truly breaking containment. Hated Rivalry has broken containment in a way we've not seen in a minute. And I think that breaking of containment puts a lot of us on edge in the queer community and gay men as well, especially because I think in that containment breaking, we have seen repeatedly gay and queer men or male presenting people put down heavily in their critiques or issues with the show or people in the space of the fandom. And I just think it was really uncomfortable for me at the end of the day to see more grace given to these white guys than to the queer men who are in community with some of the people that make the show and other members of the fan community. So that's my hot spicy take of this one. I think you can go forth with whatever you feel is appropriate. They did clarify. There were questions around the donations from their t-shirt sale that they did that was like from the closet to the cottage. They did clarify how and who they donated to, and basically were like, we just didn't want to like be cloudy, and I was like, fair. Hockey at the end of the day is a very conservative sport, and it's a sport we can enjoy despite that fact and have the knowledge that like some of these people and some of the fans are going to be scarily conservative, right? And we just have to navigate that space accordingly. And I don't think it means that we leave the space necessarily either, because we cannot push for changes if we abandon everywhere that does not, you know, want us to an extent. So there's that. Yeah, the Empty Netters thing was wild. I was pissed. I will tell you that I was pissed to finish filming and open Threads and see it. I was like, are you kidding me? But here we are. Here we are. So yeah, that's what's up here with that. So back to me. Have fun. Fun stuff time. Let's pivot. I know it's a weird pivot. Listen, I didn't want to leave you on a bad note though. So first things first, I wanted to talk about this really fun series called Witches Love Monsters Anthology. Basically, all of these authors have, 4 of them, have monster romances with witches as the main character coming. So we've gotten, I think we've gotten all the covers now. And they're all coming out across like this month-ish. I thought this was a really cool series. I thought it was a fun idea. I'm excited to try a bunch of these. I really, really love the covers. So I just wanted to include it because I was like, these covers are so fun. And listen, we don't get enough fun covers sometimes, but this series is coming out and I'll probably be reading it sooner than later. It may be my Love in the Night read. Next, we have a fun heated rivalry related thing. I guess, no, only one of these. 'Cause I'm not going to talk about the other thing because I don't have enough confirmation to discuss what is happening with those jerseys out of Ottawa. Like, we don't have a donation max and I don't trust it. So, anyways, Rainbow Crate is releasing a heated rivalry pre-order. You do not have to be a subscriber for this. Sometime later this year. They're currently searching for artists, so there's an application form if you're interested. But I'm just so excited that we have a book box doing the full set later this year as a pre-order with painted edges and dust jacket, custom dust jackets and all of that. Like, yes, please. I'm so pumped for this to be the case. And I'm pumped that it's Rainbow Crate because they are queer forward, and I just think that's really important for this series because we're not going to lose the fact that it is a queer series at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. Keep your eyes out, join their newsletter, all that good jazz. If you're waiting, I'll let you know when I see the pre-order date in a Romancelandia, but until then, this is what we got. Okay, so 2026 bingo board. I hope you're excited because here's the board. Here it is. I'm going to take you through the prompts, left to right, row by row. First of all, we have hockey team related drama, basically drama. Something's going to happen with the hockey team again this year, guaranteed. Kind of borderline has already, but I'm waiting for something else. I'm holding on hope to Emily Henry loses the Goodreads Choice Awards in 2026. I'm holding on hope. I think it could happen. TikTok issues. I don't know. It's going to be something with the sale, with something. There's just going to be something that is TikTok based that relates to book talk and stuff like that. This is vague, but when it happens, I'll know it's the thing. I think someone is going to argue about tagging authors in reviews again. Guaranteed. Also, books aren't political. 3 boxes. That conversation is going to happen multiple times this year. Someone is going to reinvent the romance genre, except for they're not reinventing it. They're just writing a books genre with a lowercase romance subplot situation. A popular author is going to be surprise awful. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Isn't reading with 3 checkboxes. So audiobooks, romance, anything, you name it. There's going to be conversations this year heavily. I can see it. I can feel it in the air around things that aren't reading because let me tell you, we're already there. We're going to get a book box apology this year for something. I don't know what, something. We're going to have a canceled author attempt to make a return. This could be Freydis Moon again. This could be anybody. Who knows? Next, we have our AI box with 3 check boxes. We know that's coming. I think there's going to be book, film, TV adaptation drama of some sort. Thinking like the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation. Something with The Housemaid could come out. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's probably going to be Elle Kennedy's books. It's going to be the off-campus TV show. Something about that. Like, people are going to be mad it's not heated right. There's going to be something with that, I bet you. You can't read that much as a given. I mean, listen, they said we could read 200 books a year last year. This year they said 100 was too much. Now they're mad that people have read anything this month. Like, it's my freebie. Someone is also going to take fandom too far this year. We've kind of already gotten there. Like, this one is spurred off from, like, heated rivalry stuff. But somebody's going to just go to a point where I'm going to be like, that right there was fandom going too far. I think we're going to lose a romance imprint in 2026, which I hate to say. I don't want that to be the case, but I think some sort of romance imprint is going to close this year with a publisher. That's just my guess. I also think we're going to see more backlash on the reverse labeling. So like reverse age gap, those things. Like I think people are going to be like, the hell do you mean? I've seen it a little bit more, but I think there's going to be like some sort of blow up around it again. I also think failed events. I've got 3 check boxes because that's like a given, right? Like 3 minimum. An influencer is going to be outed for being terrible. I don't know what that's going to entail, but someone is going to get outed. They always do. Book talk is going to be used for engagement. So someone who is not generally on book talk, but maybe a reader, is going to purposely rage bait people to get responses and views from book talk to make more money. And it's already happened. That actually makes it not a romance. This kind of goes into the reinvent, but also like people trying to say something is a romance when it's not. I got someone in December, so it doesn't count. I think it was December, maybe it was January, telling me that, like, on TikTok, talking about how HEAs make books too predictable, and, you know, we need more yearning. And I was like, blocked. 2026 is my year of blocking. So there's that. DNFing and blocking. Those are my strategies this year. Something audiobook related drama is going to happen, whether it's a narrator called out, an issue with a service, something is coming. Pity marketing. My biggest pet peeve. Someone is going to do some wild ass pity marketing in 2026, guaranteed. Also, romance is brain rot, junk food, that conversation. We already hit it. That was a given. We have fanfic with 3 boxes because you know it's going to continue to be a conversation. And then I also think BookCon is going to have massive issues. And I hate it because I know people going. I hope y'all have fun. But I will be here watching from afar when that event has issues. That's its own thing because I'm just determined that thing is going to have issues. So here we go. Let's talk about what we marked off. I marked off 1 AI square because of the Jessie Pack and the Harlequin France. I'm only giving myself 1 because it feels cheap to give myself two boxes in the AI square already. Then we have the Book Talk used for engagement and Book Talk is brain rot categories. And let me tell you, this lady that lives in Paris got on to TikTok and said, hey, you Book Talk bitches. And she may have made good points. I don't know. I kept going. I blocked. I was like, I'm not doing this. And basically discussed like how there's all these issues with books now and all these things. The best part of all this is then her Rex. She like bemoaned KU and different things. And one part of this discussion, in my opinion, stems from a misunderstanding of how publishing works, which is fine. I don't think that's always something a reader is going to know. That's a really in the weeds thing. I know it because I'm really in the weeds here, okay? But she bemoans that, and then like she had a rec video. And she wrecked books that are on KU. And she wrecked generally popular Book Talk books. So I just went, what? Then I was like, again, I knew. This is engagement bait. You're a pretty white girl. If this was any other person doing this, whether that be a black woman, a brown woman, an Asian woman, you would be getting screamed at and not getting quite the response you're getting right now because you're pretty and white. So, yeah, that gave us our rage bait. And then that conversation led to romance's brain rot / junk food conversations. And that was fascinating. Including a girl who put together a food pyramid with different genres. Because you should be reading, not eating from all the genres to have a healthy reading life. And I saw somebody else panicked that like, if things continue like this, I'm not ever going to be able to read my literary fiction books that I like and these books that I like because everything's going to cater to romance and romantasy. And I was like, when has that ever happened? When have women ever been the default catered to group? I'm just saying, how often does that even happen? And just a lot of conversations around that. So I think romance's book is brain rot has already begun. I also think I didn't think I'd hit it in January, but I knew with the anti-brain rot challenge, which I don't think is a bad challenge. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of that like brain rot conversation, we are seeing people who do not have the ability to have these conversations jump in and just misunderstand the genre because they think it's just one thing. And there's so much here in the romance space. And I feel like I say this every romancelandia or every couple where it's like, there's a lot here, y'all. Like what you think romance is not what it is. And the genre is actually doing a lot of work. A lot of really important and cool work that you are just missing out on because you refuse to actually explore the genre. You're just reading one thing that gets lifted up, maybe past the usual like mass, into the usual masses, less so into the like people really in the space. But yeah, that's my hot take on that one. So 3 spots. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed anything this month. I'm sure I did. I feel like it was a weird month. There was a lot of like up-down conversations. Some things I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about that even. So you let me know that down below. Let me know what you think of the 2026 bingo board. If there's a prompt you think I should swap, you can maybe convince me. Let me know that down below. And if you don't do any of that, you can leave me a snow emoji because I'm currently, while you are watching this, in the Snowpocalypse 2026. If you're curious, that's happening. I don't know. Past me has no idea what's happening right now, but let's hope. Power is on and we have heat. That's really the big thing, right? That's what we're gonna hope for, that we don't lose power. So we'll see what the Snowpocalypse brings to me this weekend. But yeah, you can do that down below. And if you ever want early access to things like Romancelandia, you can join my memberships down below or my Patreon for $1.99 and be a Romancelandia supporter, and you will get early access to this video every single month, as well as a bunch of other fun goodies. And there's other tiers and stuff, but you check that out down below. It's all linked. I'll have links to my friend anywhere on the internet. I will talk to y'all in just a few days in my next video. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.